My name is Mia, and I am a 25-year-old woman living in the rainy city of Portland, Oregon, where the fog rolls in off the Willamette River, and everyone seems to have a story hidden behind their coffee cups. I have always been obsessed with true crime, the kind that keeps you up at night wondering how ordinary people turn into monsters or heroes. Ever since I was a kid, I would sneak my dad's old detective novels and true crime books under the covers with a flashlight, piecing together clues like a puzzle. By the time I hit my 20s, I turned that passion into something real, a podcast called Case File Echo. I poured my heart into it, spending late nights in my tiny apartment researching forgotten cases, digging through dusty public records at the local library, and recording episodes with my cheap microphone that made my voice sound gritty and urgent. Each show brought real true crime events to life through gripping narration, forensic breakdowns, suspect analysis, timelines, and psychological insights, all crafted with cinematic tension and factual accuracy, just like I dreamed. Listeners loved it. My small but loyal audience grew to a few thousand downloads per episode, and I finally felt like I had found my place in the world, turning my creepy fascination into a career that paid just enough to cover rent and ramen noodles. People messaged me saying my breakdowns helped them understand the darkness in people, and it made me feel powerful, like I was shining a light on the shadows. But then Jake walked into my life, or more like slithered in, and everything changed. Jake was this charming guy I met at a local true crime meetup, tall with messy hair and a smile that made you think he was harmless. He said he was a sound engineer, down on his luck, and loved my podcast. We started dating, and soon he was crashing at my place more nights than not, helping with edits, suggesting tweaks to my scripts. I trusted him completely, shared all my research files, my episode outlines, even my secret stash of case notes on unsolved murders from the Pacific Northwest. He became my partner in every way, and I thought we were building something together. But one morning, I woke up to a nightmare. While scrolling through podcast charts on my phone over breakfast, there it was, #1 in true crime, a new show called Case File Echo. My show. My exact title, my intro music he had remixed without asking, my narration style word for word. I clicked play, heart pounding, and heard his voice launching into an episode on a famous Portland strangler case, using my timelines, my forensic details, my psychological insights, everything I had slaved over. He had stolen it all, uploaded it under his name 2 days ago, and it was exploding in popularity while my episodes sat untouched because he had quietly sabotaged my hosting account, deleting backups and flagging my content as plagiarized from his so-called original work. My nemesis was Jake, the man I loved who had betrayed me for fame and money, leaving me with nothing but rage and an empty podcast feed. My world shattered, listeners thought I was the copycat, sponsors dropped me, and I was right back to square one, unsatisfied and humiliated in a city that now felt like it was laughing at me. I had to solve this, get my life back, expose him before he buried me forever. I started by confronting Jake that same day, storming into the coffee shop where he was smugly sipping a latte, surrounded by fans asking for selfies because of his sudden stardom. I slammed my phone on the table, playing his episode next to mine, demanding answers in front of everyone. He just smirked, said I was jealous and unstable, that he had come up with the concept after our fights, and I was harassing him. People stared, whispered, and he played the victim so well, twisting it so I looked crazy. I left in tears, but I didn't stop there. I tried reaching out to his new sponsors, emailing them my original files with timestamps proving I created everything first, complete with chat logs where he begged for my notes. One even responded sympathetically, but then Jake got to them, claiming I was a stalker ex sending fake evidence, and they blocked me. Next, I went public on social media, posting side-by-side comparisons, rallying my old listeners to share, but he had more followers now, and his fans swarmed my accounts, calling me a liar. A bitter woman scorned, doxing my address with threats that made me afraid to leave my apartment. The stakes climbed higher when I lost my day job at the library because my boss heard the drama and didn't want the negativity. Bills piled up, I was eating peanut butter from the jar, and my confidence crumbled as hate messages filled my inbox. I even tried legal action, scraping together cash for a cheap lawyer to send a cease and desist letter accusing him of intellectual property theft. But Jake lawyered up with sponsor money, countersued me for defamation and emotional distress, and dragged my name through court filings that painted me as obsessed and violent. The judge dismissed my case for lack of proof since he had covered his tracks by altering file dates, and now I owed court fees I couldn't pay. Hurdles kept coming, each one worse. A viral video he posted of me yelling at the coffee shop, edited to make me seem unhinged, tanked any chance of guest spots on other podcasts. Friends distanced themselves, afraid of the association. I hit rock bottom one rainy night, sitting alone in the dark, staring at my dead podcast analytics, convinced all was lost. Jake was untouchable, living large with interviews on big true crime YouTube channels, while I was broke, broken, and invisible. I almost deleted everything, ready to give up my dream forever, tears mixing with the Portland drizzle on my window. But deep down, a spark of that old flashlight under the covers girl flickered. I dug into Jake's past like I would any case, spending sleepless weeks hacking together public record searches, old social media archives, and tips from anonymous ex-friends who hated him too. Turns out, Jake wasn't just a thief. He had a skeleton in his closet from his college days in Seattle, a true crime case of his own making. Back then, he had been involved in a fraud scheme, posing as a victim in a campus assault to scam donations, but it unraveled when evidence showed he faked injuries for insurance money. He got off with probation because his rich family pulled strings, but the records were buried deep. I pieced it together with forum posts, blurred police reports, and a whistleblower email from his old roommate. This was my final shot, my last-ditch effort, risking everything including potential lawsuits or worse if he found out. I risked it all by creating a special episode, not under my name, but anonymously uploaded to a burner account, titled The Echo of Lies, a forensic breakdown of Jake's podcast empire built on stolen work, laced with timelines proving the theft, and then the bombshell, his real crime history with suspect analysis showing how his fraud mirrored the manipulative stories he now profited from. I wove in psychological insights on con artists like him, building cinematic tension around his rise and inevitable fall, narrated in a voice modulator to sound ghostly and urgent. I seeded it on Reddit true crime subs, Twitter threads, and emailed it to every sponsor and journalist covering him. The climax hit when his big live interview streamed nationwide. Midway through, his phone blew up with notifications as my episode rocketed to top charts, fans turning on him in real time, chanting case file fraud in the chat. He froze, sweated, tried to laugh it off, but then reporters bombarded him with questions about the Seattle fraud, sponsors pulled out live on air, and police got tipped anonymously about re-examining his old case for perjury. In the confrontation I never planned but got anyway, he showed up at my door that night, pounding fists, screaming I destroyed him, but I recorded every word through the peephole, uploaded it instantly as bonus material, his own voice confessing to stealing my work in rage. Poetic justice, the thief exposed by his own echo. He got arrested 2 days later for outstanding warrants tied to the fraud revival. His podcast yanked, empire crumbled to dust, while mine relaunched stronger, authentic fans flocking back tenfold with millions of downloads. Now my new normal is thrilling, living in a better apartment overlooking the river, booking paid gigs, even a book deal on true crime narration, changed into a wiser, tougher storyteller who knows betrayal's sting but wears it like armor. Loose ends tied, Jake rotting in county jail facing fraud charges anew, sending me pathetic letters I delete unread. But as close to the end as it gets, here's the twist that still chills me. Last week, digging a new case, I uncovered a listener tip that Jake's fraud back in Seattle wasn't just money. It linked to a real unsolved murder he might have witnessed and covered up, meaning my revenge podcast might have accidentally cracked a decade-old case wide open, pulling me into the spotlight as the hero detective I always wanted to be, with cops now calling me for insights. Who knew getting even could rewrite history?